Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunchtime with Demons. Today is going to be a really strange episode. It's getting to know you. We should title it that. Getting to know you, getting
I
to know
love it.
all about you. No, but really, we wanted to do an episode that was a little more lighthearted, where you got to know us and at a more personal level, and it also it sounded like fun. So we're gonna play a game. We're gonna play 21 questions. Ryan has no idea what I'm gonna ask him, and I have no idea what he's gonna ask me. We have no idea what we're gonna ask each other. And but there's a rule. If I answer it, like if I ask him a question, he has to answer it, but then I also have to answer it, and vice versa. So you have to get we'll both answer the questions. Um
To keep it fun.
yeah. Just in case it's like a hard question. Just in case all my questions are super easy and then Ryan's questions are like existential. Like it's got to be fair, you know?
Like you
Uh,
don't know me or something.
yeah. I do. Okay. Who wants to go? You want to go first?
Sure, if you want me to. I can
I
go
don't care.
first. Let's see here. Uh,
I can go first. It doesn't matter.
okay, if you want to go first. I hadn't picked one yet, and I don't
Okay.
like going in order.
I'm going to go in order.
Okay.
Okay. The first one's silly. Okay. This one is don't make fun of me. It's silly. It's a good icebreaker though. What's the very first thing you do when you wake up before you check your phone?
For me, I kind of like tap in with like myself. Like, who am I? I know it probably sounds weird, but yeah, I just the transformative nature, I think, of crossing from like dreamscape to like reality, I always like mark.
Hmm, that's deep. I'm not surprised. Um, well, if I don't have Juniper screaming in my face to wake me up, I, first thing I do is I tap in with Lucifer. So I always say he has my first breath. So like when I literally get that first inhale and like my eyes open, I say his name and then just say hello. And sometimes that literally means like hello, and I roll out of bed because universe grabbing me. But that is the first thing I do when I wake up.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, your turn.
So that's a good way to start the day.
Yeah.
I think you nailed me. For people that don't know you the way I do, who is Bella right now in this season of your life?
Hmm. Um, observant. Sometimes uh we're the mad scientists and we're experimenting, and sometimes we're observing. And I really feel like right now I am observing. I'm very observant to my life, my habits, my health, my family, my friends, my career, my my choices, um, the country that we're living in, um, what's happening politically, what's happening culturally, societally, what's happening. Um, I'm very observant. I'm very aware, hyper aware. Spiritually, same thing. High alert. Uh, yeah, that's a weird answer. What about you?
I think it fits. I mean, it's, for me, I would say that I've entered this place where Satan, first of all, is asking for me to be a bit more of a public figure, which I don't necessarily have problems being a public figure because most of my career as a chef, you're very outward and whatnot. But I don't know, like in my spiritual life, I just have spent so much of it just being kind of me and internal. So it's kind of a different shift of pace for me to start kind of sharing it more openly.
Hmm. Yeah, that's. That's well, hmm. Yeah, it's what's being asked. I mean, I think that was like the beginning of my practice. Well, not the beginning, but that was a big chunk of my practice with Lucifer is like was very public. And it still is. But I do see transitions. Um, but I don't know. I think that it ebbs and flows with them,
Oh
you know.
yeah, completely. I mean, and you know, it's not everything that my practice is with Satan that's being asked to be shared, but just to be more public about it, kind of, I think,
Yeah.
be that voice that helps kind of, I think, share a little bit
Hmm.
more of the different sides of Satan.
Yeah, I love that. Hmm. How do you feel about it?
I I like it. You know, it for me it's just usually like shifting gears. I definitely happily take my time when it's time to do such things, but just doing it. So, yeah, yeah. He always gives me grief. He's like, you can take the time you want. I know you will take your time with this. And that's okay. Like I said, for me, it's just like I'm happy to shift gears as need be to do what's asked or wanted and you know in my practice and but also yeah I do very much take my time with it I don't just like jump off the cliff and then wait to figure out you know where's the ground or where's the sky you know I walk
Yeah,
off the cliff and I see if I float.
I feel that. I feel that. It's a season for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of different things I think that will come up, and you know, I think helping maybe be somewhat of a voice of reason and calm for folks in a time of turmoil, I think can be helpful.
Yeah, I think so too. It's it's needed. Hold on one second. I need to close the door. Um, yeah. Um, okay. What brand or type of soap slash shampoo slash toothpaste do you use? And are you loyal to it or is it constantly changing?
Uh, I'm kind of loyal. I think I use the Bronner's, Dr. Bronner's like shampoo and like body wash for the most part. There is this one soap I get at Sprouts. I actually don't even know the maker. I just know what it smells like. It's like dragon's blood bar soap that
Mhm.
occasionally I splurge on, just because I like the smell of it. Um, as far as like the shampoo, yeah, it's the same. And then I make a lot of like of my own care products. So beyond that, and that's kind of why I think I like the Dr. Bronner's because I can use like other oils and things in it just based upon what I kind of want this season or whatnot. So I'm kind of more
Wow.
of a try to make it myself if I can, or you know, like I said, use something foundationally like that.
Wow. I wouldn't have guessed that you make your own.
I
But
try. I mean, like I said, I don't make my own soap by any means. I'm not that crazy. But like I said, I try to find something as natural as possible and then work with it. Like I even make my own like oils for my beard and like I do a clove spray that I like to use for just kind of like I have oily skin and hair, so it helps mitigate some of that.
I love that. I could not be more the opposite. I use like literally like the most like Colgate like or like Crest extra white like whitening like whitening white shit like has like fucking it it could literally say like has bleach in it will fucking and I'd be like Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. I like the purple one though too. The one that like I have a purple one that like turns your whole mouth purple. Um, I even have like the light thing that like you put in your mouth and it like bleaches your teeth. I do that like once a week. I like walk around the house with this thing in my mouth and like it bleaches my teeth. Um, so I'm not loyal to any of it at all. I rotate it because I was taught at a young age that you don't use the same products because they stop working. So I rotate all these products. Soap right now. So I'll tell you what I'm using right now. Right now I'm using L'Occitane, and it's the scent. It's the almond scent. Um, I really am a fan of that one. I'm also using La. Why can't I think of what it's called? Um, I keep wanting to say La Scarabo, and I could be wrong. La Scarabo. Um, Maybe I'm wrong, but the scent is called Another 13. It's actually the perfume and the oil. Oh, Le Labo, duh. Um, Lelabo. The scent is called Another 13. And that's Lucifer's actually. So the perfume and the oil is consecrated for him. And I wear that for him. I literally spray it all over my bed and all over me and everything. I use the
Love that.
oil like all over my tattoos of his sigils. I use the oil in my bath and um so yeah, that's for him. I'm a huge perfume junkie, so this question isn't about perfumes, but if there was a question about perfume, I could sit here all day and tell you my entire collection because I have a very large perfume collection. Shampoo right now I'm using Olaplex. Um, Sometimes I use Ouai. I think that's what it's called. Ouai products. But right now I'm using Olaplex. I have a lot of fucking hair. I have a long hair and I have a lot of hair. And it grows fast and it's very thick. So I have to use I wish I could use just like all natural products. And I know that some people would like fight me on it, like, but that's the best option. And I'm like, I hear you, and I have tried it. And then I look like a psychopath. Like my hair looks like a frisball. Actually, I would say the most natural products that I have used was from a company called Kiehl's, and that worked really well for a little while, and then suddenly it just stopped. And so,
It's
anyway,
hard. Like even that shampoo, it requires like I can't just put it all in my hair and lather up like you do with
yeah,
a regular soap. I have to like do it in sections and things like that because it's not quite the same. So
yeah,
and yeah, luckily my hair is pretty thick too, and it takes quite a bit, but I get it. It's whatever works for you, I think, in the care product department. Like I said, I just kind of like trying to. I have very like you said perfumes. Like I would love to almost be a perfumer. That would be like my secret job. I wish I could have. Um,
Okay, like me too. Can, I made a perfume. I have to take you to this place here where you can make your own. You get
oh
to
yeah, we
name
talked about the
it.
last time I came to
Yeah,
visit and they happened to be closed when we were heading down. I was like, oh, I really would love to go see that.
I know. I would love to take you there so you can make your own cologne because it's really cool.
Yeah, I would love something like that, for instance. That definitely would be a me. I wouldn't go buy like somebody's brand, but I would definitely go spend money to make my own cologne.
It was really fun. And then like I was obsessed with creating a story around it. And so
Oh,
the
cool.
guy got really invested in my story.
You're such a storyteller. I love this about you so much.
The story was this woman left her house in the 1940s, and her house was like this old um she lived in an old farm in like the backwoods of I think we were in Alabama, and she she there was like marshland in the back, and she was looking for her husband, and she was calling out his name over and over and over again. She couldn't find him, but then she saw like hanging connected to the barbed wire of like a beaten down fence at the edge of their property. She saw his flannel shirt and she knew that he was in the marsh. And so it's like this I wanted a scent of the woman's slow walk to the marsh and the taste of her tears as she approached the dead body of her husband.
I love it. I could definitely find scents that apply to most of that.
I did. I did. So it's dirt. It's wet dirt. So no, it's soil, hay. Um, I forgot. I'll have to. Well, we named it. It's a period piece. That's the name of the fragrance. It's a
I
period
love
piece.
that.
Um, hay, wet soil, um, peony. Because he had this idea. He was like, "What if she had a bouquet of flowers that she walked past?" And salt. I think it's
Yeah,
salt.
I
He
definitely
said
thought salt would be in there. Yeah,
yeah, and
like
it's
an
so
ocean.
good. I gave it to King Belial as an offering. He loves
Mm,
it.
I love that. Yeah, see, I buy my own essential oils and I make them specifically just for Satan and Lucifer, for anointing daily.
Mm. I realize how insane I sound. Like as I'm saying, I'm like, I'm unhinged. Anyway, I think you're the next question.
Okay, let's see here. Let me see here. Oh, here's a fun one, just kind of in the realm of like occult stuff. Do you
Okay.
believe we choose our paths, or do you believe we're kind of like remembering them, kind of like that duality of is this something we're designing ourselves, or are we kind of like following the course we set for ourselves before we came here?
Mm, hmm. I hate to answer this. I do.
If it's too much, I know that one's probably a little bit.
No, you know what it is? I have my own belief and then I have what I teach. What I teach is that you should come up with your own feelings and opinions about this. Um, my feelings and opinions about this are mine, and they are how I feel about my life, and they're how I feel about my experience in my spiritual practice and the way I've perceived things. That does not make it any way, shape, or form right. I feel that very strongly. I laid this shit out um with myself and others before I came here. I think that there was some blueprints and possibilities that I knew were possible. I think that there were and are things along those timelines that have shifted um, and adjusted, but they were in some ways accounted for and in some ways not. Um, and that's what is part of the fun. The reason why I'm careful with this question and answer is because then it begs a really big question, which is, so you don't believe in free will, right? You know,
Get that.
that argument always comes up every time I have this like philosophical question with some of my like very seasoned occult friends. They'll take me out to dinner and then this will come up and they're like, so you don't believe in free will? And I'm like, wow. For me, I guess not. So then fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I guess not. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that I think that what has happened on my path is standard. It also doesn't mean that I'm this exclusive person that had an exclusive situation. I think that there's a lot of choice before you have this experience. Um, Especially if you've had it before, especially if you intend on having it again or not or whatever. I think that there's a lot of choice. One of the things I like to explain to people is that I've talked to enough dead people at this point. I've talked to enough divine beings. I've talked to myself and my higher consciousness is and divine forms to know that there's a lot of choice and clarity So for someone to be like free will and agency, I'm like, okay, I'm talking cosmic and universal choice, baby. Like bigger choices. I don't actually give a shit about human free will in my situation because I'm thinking on a much bigger scale. Now, that zoomed out perspective for me did not come from nowhere. It did not come from like a couple of years of experience. It came from like massive, 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 massive dark nights of the soul over and over and over and over and over again. Um, Epiphany upon epiphany, and they're going to keep happening. It's also something that brings me an immense amount of peace. I feel at peace with this opinion. So if it scares you, then it's not for you. Don't adopt it because you think that it must be right because it's Bella's path. Don't ever do that. Number one. Number two, if you're like, well, I want to explore that for myself, go for it. But like, if it scares you or feels like instinctively wrong, then perhaps it's wrong.
I get you. I do think that some people think that because the choices that were, necessarily made by our higher selves before, like, embarking on this journey, to me, it's kind of like, creating a map that I'm
Mm-hmm.
heading somewhere. And that map is kind of an outlay of what we think and what we know kind of before the scenario. And then I get to take that map and then I get to go on the journey and I get to make choices with that map. And that's kind of the way I kind of see it is that I designed that map with my higher self. I came here. I'm now living that map, which not everything was included on the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There were things that, now have changed on that map because we were like, oh, well, we thought that was over there. It really is now over here because of choices you've made along the way. So to me, it's kind of this hybrid sort of situation of that I think and I hope that realistically we're kind of striving to push some of those edges of the envelope is what we're really seeking. And that does require some extra effort on a grander scale, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, it's fun. And I get it. And I agree though. I mean, find what works for you, what gnosis. This is not where I started 30 years ago, when I started my metaphysical practice. And it's grown over time and through it. And I know it'll change between now and when I die.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, mm, mm, okay. What's one mundane thing that you weirdly romanticize? Like making coffee, folding laundry, walking at night.
And coffee would be an easy one for me. I have a pour over coffee maker with this nice little spout and I take my time with it. I try to be very involved with making my coffee. My coffee though, however, takes me like 20 minutes to make, just so you know. But yeah, I definitely it's one of my like daily routines that especially the first cup of the day. The other ones maybe not as much, but the first cup of the day I really do kind of get very kind of Taoist about it in terms of just being present in the moment. Plus, also, I offer like the first pour of that coffee to Lucifer each morning as well, just something we've done for years.
Hmm, I love that.
I like rituals like that. Like I used to when I was a chef, Friday nights were tea and hookah. So I had a nice Chinese tea set and I would smoke hookah and have tea just to
Hmm.
relax.
I don't do it enough. I mean, I when I do make matcha, I get very like I romanticize it. I make it very like I take my time with it. Um, Honestly, like I'm like as I'm like thinking about this question, I guess nighttime I wear a lot of like Victorian dresses to bed. So that's I romanticize my nightgowns, like what I wear to bed. Um
I love that.
I, I, and you know what's funny? Like, I joke about like haunting my house because if you were to see me in the middle of the night, like walking around my house in the dark, like I am literally wearing like a white flowy nightgown.
That was the
So
living ghost.
legit. Legit. In the summertime, my goal is to take I have like a remote, like a battery candle, with like it's wrought iron with the handle, and I'm gonna absolutely walk around outside. I'm gonna braid my hair into like a long braid and just walk down the street in a white linen, like flowy night dress, barefoot with my candle.
In your neighborhood, actually, I think that would quite be fitting. I think it would, I don't
A
think
hundred
anybody
percent.
would, I mean, they would be surprised, but I don't think anybody would have a freak out.
No, no, they would definitely think it's a ghost.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly. I mean, your neighborhood looks like there's just ghosts walking about.
Oh, for sure. There's also a cemetery up the block, and maybe I should just do it there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely do it near the cemetery there. That was a cute little cemetery too.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, your turn.
Let's see here. Trying to find something. I ended up accidentally, I think, because I use these are all kind of occult questions.
That's okay.
Okay. I was like, I
Mine are
because I
all
use it a
nautical
lot
questions,
actually
so we
to
have a balance.
well, so I use it a lot for helping with a little bit of things here and there for the podcast. And so it actually knows, I think, our entire collection. So it has a bit of an occult stent to it. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, what's a question? Sorry. Uh, what does being real for you look like? Authenticity.
Mm. Um, hmm. What is being real? Seem like sound? What is that? What is, wait,
Does it look like for you? How do you feel like when you're being like your authentic self or your real self? What does that look like for you? I think like just that mental like, okay, I feel like I'm being genuine by just doing X, like I don't give a shit what people think or I don't know.
honestly, I don't know because I don't ever, if I'm being really honest, I don't have an, I don't
I
have
know
an
you
off
don't have
button.
this thought actually. That's why I thought this was kind of actually an interesting question for you. Because I know you would actually probably genuinely never think about what it looks like to be authentic because you just are.
I don't have, I don't ever have the thought of like, I can't be myself here. Like, or I have to censor myself or like mask or be someone else or be quiet or I don't have that thought. And I'm not trying to sound like, because I know that a lot of people struggle with this. I really do. So I can't recall the last time I've ever had that thought, if I'm being really honest.
No, and I could vouch for it, honestly. Like I said, that's the actual honest answer that I thought you would give because I know you. I mean, you just are who you are. And, I don't think that you have to think about like what authenticity looks like when I think you're pretty genuinely just authentically yourself. Good, bad, and different, but just being who you are.
You know, can I say something though? I felt the consequences of it.
There
I don't,
are.
there are consequences of it, and I have felt that, and that sucks. I felt like, oh, I'm not welcome here, or oh, I'm not liked, or oh, I'm too much, or oh, like I've lost him. You know what I mean? Like, uh, so I may not feel the original, like that original feeling of like, oh, this is uncomfortable. They're perceiving me. I'm embarrassed, but I do feel I feel a secondary feeling, which is when I realize that like that that I'm not palatable for the room. And that's not always. Typically, I'm really well received because typically people like people, but every so often it does blow up in my face, and I'm like, oh, this would have been a time to not talk about that. This would have been a time to not bring this up. This would have been a time to hide who you are. You know what I mean? Like, don't bring up that you do what you do in front of evangelicals because that's bad. Like, I don't have that filter. And so, as wonderful as that may seem, there are secondary consequences to it sometimes.
Yeah, it happens like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
I think I'm similar in the fact that I don't have that forethought of what my authenticity looks like. I definitely will say that I can definitely feel the difference of like um being very present in who I am. And I think that's just been work of years of just trying to understand myself better and more forgiving with myself of, just this is who I am, and I think there's those aspects of things that maybe come into it that are a little bit more of like a feel to it, but it kind of like in a like a really positive fashion of like good, bad, and different. This is as genuine as it gets for me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I agree. There's consequences to it, and
Hmm.
things happen, and we have to deal with some of that fallout. And, funny enough, I had a weird thought about that, like today, like with just aspects of family and stuff, and I was just like, I just pick up and figure it out because
Yeah.
people make their own choices, and I can only make my choices, and so if for reasons or some reason that like a friend or family member decided that they couldn't be friends with me because of this or the things I believe, so be it.
Yeah. Okay, this is a weird question.
Okay.
What is something people assume about you that is wildly inaccurate once they actually know you?
I think most people just from like looks and appearance think that I'm a very gruff and kind of mean kind of person. And then I open my mouth and their face, I can always see it kind of happen when I like meet strangers. I can see their face like change very
Mhm.
dramatically as I start to speak and talk to them, which I always find kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I can vouch. I can vouch. I think it's really funny. People think that you're so like they really like they get really intimidated by you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do know that I have, I think, a persona and a presence with who I am and whatnot, but I do find it kind of fun and uh, disarming how like quickly though that persona or that perception changes quickly with people as I start to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. I like meeting strangers, but I also will say that it is funny though. Even with that, I still am that person that like random people just have to talk to,
Yeah.
which I actually kind of love for the most part.
Hmm.
How about yourself?
Um, I think the biggest thing is that people think that there's something behind me. Like there's something that they don't know. Like there's something that they're gonna find out. Like there's something I'm not saying. Like there's a big secret. That's like people are like, you're so mysterious. Like there's something that you're gonna figure out. Like she doesn't really like me. That's something the amount of times I've heard that. Like she doesn't. Like I think Bella's so nice, but I don't think she really likes me. She's so nice to me. She's so nice to me, but that's because she's nice to everybody. She's 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 just the nicest person. So she's nice to everybody, but she doesn't really like me. She's just mm. Or like I don't know. I never really know her. I never really get to know. I don't know her. Or like I don't know. There's something about her that I don't know. I just don't get it. Like there's a big, like there's something they're waiting for, like something, like a shoe's gonna drop.
I remember one time when we were talking, you asked me, so what's my big question about Bella? Because it was such a common occurrence for you with people. And I was like, uh, I don't have one. I genuinely was like, I'm like, I mean, yes, there's things I want to know about you and we've like learned and grown, but I'm very much like the organic type of like, I don't know. I just spend time and get to
Yeah.
know them.
Well, let me explain why that's wildly inaccurate. Um, because if I don't like you, you fucking know. Let me be so clear with you. I'm not as nice as you think I am. That's what's wildly inaccurate. That's what you're not getting is I am loyal. That's the difference. I'm loyal through and through. I'm like a lion in many ways. I will defend you. I believe in humanity. I'm a humanist. I believe that humans deserve unconditional love. But I also don't think you deserve that unconditional love from me if you abuse me. I get the fuck out of there fast, fast. And I tell you about it. I'm not avoidant. I am not afraid of confrontation. I've been in more fights than you can imagine. I've been on parole for starting a fight. I'm scrappy as fuck. I'm from New York. I don't think people realize that side of me. They don't know that side of me. They don't know the side of me that's been in therapy, that's been in anger management, that's had to learn how to work through and observe every emotion that caused me to be impulsive and caused me to respond in ways that were reactionary and went against my own like philosophical beliefs about humans by being violent, by being angry, by being unkind and unfair. I fought to not be that person, to to move beyond those choices, but those choices live inside me. And I have to face them all the time. And so if I talk to you and I'm kind to you, I mean it.
Oh, without a
I'm
doubt.
not
I would,
placating you. I'm not palatable for your sensibilities because I owe you something. I don't owe you anything. And so if I don't like you, you know, you ask any of my closest friends. I'm like a chihuahua. If I don't like you, I make it very apparent. Very apparent. There was a there. Am I allowed to say this? Yeah, there was an investigator recently in my home because of a family member of mine who is under investigation for a good thing, for a job. Um, and the investigator was talking to me for a very long time. And I was just like, up, talking, just telling him everything. And I was specifically talking about my husband. And I went on and on about my husband and the things that my husband's been through. And this investigator was like, do you think that he would be a good fit having gone through all of that? And I was like, I don't think a person is a good fit without having gone through all of that. Because you see, it is the pressure of what he has experienced that now brings the applicant that you see before you. Do you understand? You are lucky to have him, sir. And I was like, you don't deserve him, frankly. I was like, and so my tone changed real fast. And then he was like, Really? So what do you think he should do? And I said, oh, no, no, no. I want to tell you what you should do. You need to make sure that if you do take him on, that you utilize him because he is far more qualified than your other applicants because I've looked it up. I've actually been doing weeks of research on your applicants on what they come in with, their bullshit bachelor's degrees. Like, no, 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 no. You think I don't know? I know what you're doing. I also know what you've been doing for the last hour, thinking that you're getting all this information from me. No, no, no. You're not playing me. I'm playing you, baby. Like I've been alive too long. Don't fucking come at me. This is the thing. This is the thing with me. People think that I'm so nice. Yes, I am. There is no shoe. I'll show you the shoe. I'll show it to you very fast, especially if you deserve to see it. But this is the thing. 98% of people don't deserve to see it. They don't. And they see it all the time from people who are supposed to love them, people who are supposed to protect them, people who are supposed to defend them, people who are supposed to be fucking loyal to them. They see the shoe from those fucking people. So yeah, when you come to me and I'm nice to you, it's because you fucking deserve it. And you know what though? Put me in a room with those people. Put me in a room with those people and I'll go real fast from being like, okay, it's so nice to meet you, to I will eat them alive. Put me in a room with them and you'll see the other side of Bella really fast. That's the shoe that will fall. But you're not going to see it because I'm not, you have no reason to see it. But it's so strange. I think it's because I work, right? I work with psychics so they can feel that there's something else. But the other thing is not something I'm afraid to show you. It's something that you don't need to see, right? It's something that you've not earned. It's called rage. I'm joking. I have ways of expressing it. It's called kettlebells and
Very acrobatic.
and jokes. But truthfully, it's really strange. Um, I think it's your turn.
Okay, let's see here.
I had to go on that tangent.
No, I agree. And I think that, I think that you're right, though. I've seen it and witnessed it. And I've also had the opportunity, I think, to see some of the times where you may not have gotten angry, but like you rose to the challenge of like a really good debate, which I absolutely kind of like really enjoyed the couple of times this has occurred and being able to like witness it and then be like, that's what Bella. So yes, if somebody was to champion somebody or defend them, that
I got your back. I got your back. I really do. I will always champion the underdog.
yeah, definitely, and I agree. I think that just kind of having a base level for all people of how I treat them
Yeah.
to start with, and then you do things and make decisions that decide how I respond.
Yeah, exactly. But I understand. There's a thing I understand when people are like, well, she's going to hurt me, or she's going to be mean to me, or she's going to be mad at me, or she's going to do this because other people in your life that were in positions where they should have never treated you like that ever did. And
Did
then you don't know me. You don't know me from fucking anywhere. And you're like, how am I supposed to trust that? And it's like, let me be that one person that eventually that teaches you that this is how you deserve to be treated. And then from there, go about your merry way. And that's my hope, is that I can teach people new baselines of how to be treated. And then you go, well, you know what? If this random bitch from TikTok can treat me with some fucking dignity and respect, then my fucking mom can. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And if she can't, then hello, welcome to no contact. Because why is this person I don't know in New York treating me like this? And this person who says that they love me treats me like trash. It's like it's not mathing.
exactly. The words aren't matching the act.
Yeah, exactly. 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 Okay, your turn. Sorry.
All right, let's see here. Okay, this is a fun one. If you could speak to your past self without fixing anything, what would you say?
Mm, don't cry. Don't cry over them. That's fixing it. Um,
No, I think that's, I think fixing is like the trying to warn, like to prevent
mm,
something. I think what you said is maybe, accurate to that idea of like how do you work with what you were given, right? Or had to deal with.
yeah.
I think that's fitting.
Yeah. Or like everything's temporary.
That's a huge one that I think takes a while to just learn as a human being.
Everything is temporary.
I really love impermanence. Have I ever told you that?
Hmm.
It's like one of my just favorite like concepts of just life that, it'll all disappear, vanish, die away, and
Yeah.
change into something else, which I absolutely think is what's one of the most precious things about being alive.
Hmm. Hmm. I agree. I agree. Um, if someone lived your exact life and your exact routine for an entire week, what would surprise them the most?
How much time I spend by myself.
Hmm.
I definitely probably need a certain level of like alone time. Like I need some like balance. So I get quite a bit of time by myself.
Is that a good thing? Like, are you saying like you're lonely, or are you saying like you need it?
I think there's a balance of it. I do think that I'm kind of like in that neighborhood of like probably a 30 like by myself and like 70 like with people. But I definitely have to have like a certain amount of like time for me to like delve through the minutia of the crazy things that I think of all the time.
Hmm. Hmm. Mm. What would surprise them the most? Just how much I talk to the divine. I think people come and like my friends that have come to visit me that work with the divine. Sometimes I'm like, are you coming to see me? Or are you coming to hang out with them? Because you can hang out with them at your own house. But I think it's because of the way I structure my day and my life with them that when you're here visiting, that structure gets adopted. So then you end up in that structure and you end up in the conversation and you end up in you get enveloped by it. Um, yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's a lot of like what people I think experience because I think that's the difference of it really is like I think people think that they know what it is like to have the divine throughout your entire day.
Hmm.
And then there's the reality of like how dramatically it changes everything for you when they really are there for every part of your day.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then, like I said, I always think it's interesting because I think too that the conjunction of like when you and I get together, I just feel like there is so much like just magic and things that happen and occur. I think because of like the spatial ability that as a group, people that believe and bring this in, it opens opportunities that are unforeseen.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, your turn, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. No, that's kind of an interesting question. What illusion about yourself did you have to let die?
A lot.
Yeah.
All of them. Uh,
Which skin would you like me to pull up?
yeah, I was gonna say all of them. They're all fucked all the time. They're all illusions all the time. Every single one. Every time I think I know myself, I then realize that that's a skin I have to rip off. Um, because that means that I've grown complacent with a part of myself. I don't know. Um,
Maybe one of the first ones that was like very poignant for yourself. Because for me,
um,
and maybe, I mean, if you need a moment to talk, I can share like mine.
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So for me, I think the one place where I really noticed it was is like my persona as a chef.
Mm.
It was such an identifying marker of like who I was. I did it for over 20 years and I realized that having and living by that persona, it was hindering my growth as a human being. And fine of all the things that I learned from it and took away from it, but I was living in that as a persona of like who I was as a person. And it kind of had to be this thing. And that was the first real like self that I had to like just really let go of. And because I'd spent so much time building it, it was important for me to shed that skin. I think one of the most.
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, I think we've talked about that, which then leads me to my answer, which is a musical theater performer.
Yeah, I had a feeling that that was probably going to be similar in the context of that for yourself.
Yeah,
Which
because
is
like,
interesting, right?
yeah, which is crazy because now as like an occultist, I'm like, fuck, I have another skin. And I think that's gonna shed as I move into like an occultist author. It's like it's always like they get too thick. The skin gets too thick and then you can't get out of it. Um, and that kind of happens, like you outgrow it. And it like and that happened as a musical theater performer, yet I want to perform again. Like I'm gonna be doing stand up again soon.
And that's the
No.
fun part to remember that it doesn't mean that you can't like enjoy
Yeah.
those things still. And that's why like
Yeah.
I definitely preference that I still love to cook. I still
Yeah.
love all of the leadership skills that I learned being a chef, and I
Mhm.
take all of that with me. But yeah, I think it's just you have to really see how much of a box you create for yourself with these personas. That's why I get really finicky about like occultist and witch
Mhm.
and all these
I
things. I
know.
mean, you can call me all those things all you want, but I really don't identify with them because I'm so much larger than that.
Yeah, you can call me those things, but like I'm careful about adopting too much of it, whether it's physically or like the way I dress or the way that I do my hair or my makeup or whatever it is. I'm really careful about it because I don't want to do that. I want to remain myself as much as possible. And I also don't want to alienate those other parts of me that is a singer, that is a performer, that, does other things because like she's a active part of me and still wants to do things. And so like it's been really tough to find that balance. But it's important to find the balance. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, that was a huge part too why I actually started shedding that personas because I didn't have a balance in my life because all I did was work,
Yeah.
the chef. I really, it was a lot. It was a lot of time. And stuck in the minutia of whatever facility I was working with and managing all of the peoples and making the trains run on time and food and things and there's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're coming to an end, but I have one more question. What's your favorite nothing activity that makes you feel tolerable again? That makes life feel tolerable again? I thought this was a good one to end on because it's like good advice for everybody at home too. We all need.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to sound kind of cliche-ish, but it would definitely be somewhere between meditation and like sky gazing, uh,
Mm,
or probably a combination maybe of the two for myself. And whether it be day or night, honestly. Yeah, it's just kind of like a reset point. I joke with Satan that it's like being a kite some days is that I'm a human and my consciousness is the kite flying around.
mm, I like that. I don't know. Mine is like, mine varies. Sometimes it's watching a movie, sometimes it's reading, sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's literally just like sitting and talking to a friend or like playing with my tarot cards or like drawing something. I don't know. It really varies. Hanging out with Junie. I not that those like are nothing, you know what I mean? Like there's something, but like they're also like
Simple everyday things.
simple. Yeah. Like there's also honestly, I love to just like sit in my bed with my like heating pad or like my heated blanket and just vibe. Like I'm totally fine just sitting in bed with my blanket and like I'll have my altar going and doing very literally nothing, just staring at the wall. Yeah, it's I know for some people that would drive them mad, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I'm very like easy like that in terms of like what little it takes to just like reset me is very simple stuff. Like I even used to just love doing food prep. Like it was the most quiet part of my day, and I was kind of left to myself. And so even even that, like I do joke that sometimes when I'm in something like I really have a lot that I'm thinking about, I will go plan a very elaborate meal so that I have a ton of time that I have to spend prepping it and preparing it before I even start cooking it to give myself time to think.
Yeah. Well, this was a fun episode. Thanks for
Yeah,
doing this with me.
no, thank you. I
I
always love
I
sharing our friendship, which is I feel like this is kind of a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I feel like I got to know you more, even though I know you really well. But also like it was a little bit of both. It was like, wow, I know Ryan really well. I knew all these answers, and then there's also a part of me that was like, I didn't know that. I didn't take you for that. So that's cool. And also like it shows you. My hope is that like for listeners, it shows you like how different we are and like how different we all are, and like we're all coming from different walks of life, doing different things, have different beliefs, different feelings about things, and yet we're all here together, just trying to get by in a fascist fucking bullshit world. Fuck ICE.
Yeah, fuck guys.
Fuck this shit. It's really hard to do this. It's really hard to do anything right now, but we have to. This in itself is a form of resistance. Not to resume normalcy, but to maintain a container of peace. And this is my container of peace, which is teaching and talking and reminding myself that life is worth living and fighting for. And that there are places where I find sanctuary, and that gives me strength. And then that strength is what I use for resistance, and that's what we do, and that's what we need. And so stay strong, protect your community, but also protect your own personal peace and the container that holds that peace, which is you, the vessel. And know that you're loved no matter what, and no matter who you are. I, you have two uh, ethnic people here. I know that I'm white presenting, um, but I am half Latina, and um, Ryan is.
I'm half Hispanic, Mexican and Spanish on my mother's side, and I actually never met my real father, but supposedly he was Irish. So
I just didn't want to speak for you on
no, I
your
appreciate it.
ethnicity. um, but we just wanted to be very clear how we feel about what's going on here, and that this is a sanctuary for everybody. And yeah, it will remain that way. And this is not a place where we are not speaking about how we feel. It's not a place where we're not speaking about what's going on. We're not numb to it. We don't need to be. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't turn an eye to it. It's moving too fast to do that. We need to be alert. We also need to to help each other where we can. So we love you lots. Please stay safe. Uh, please stay safe. There's also a big storm coming in this weekend. So if you're in the Northeast, is the storm coming towards you in the Midwest?
It's starting here
Okay.
now, and it'll be hitting everybody else, I think, over the next day or two.
Okay. Well, yeah. So just be safe. And we will see you next weekend. Hear you, see you, hear you, talk to you. You know,
All of
those
the
things.
above nowadays, you know.
All the above. All the things. We'll
Did
do all the things.
you have a word of the week?
Oh, the word of the week. How could we forget? How could we forget the word of the week? The word of the week is fascism. It is a far right authoritarian. It's a political ideology that emerged in the earliest 20th century, characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, and extreme subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race. And the key traits include a charismatic leader, intense nationalism, militarism, and social economic regime. So, yep. But just remember they're sheep's in wolf's clothing. And a pack of wolves can do nothing when there's a herd. So we'll be the herd. Don't worry. We'll be okay. Love you guys.
See you
Okay.
next week, guys.
See you soon.